grab onto the shovel, grab onto the gun and the sword. Don't be afraid to step out into this world and do your job.
This is Imam Abdullah Faaruuq in his sermon urging congregants to grab onto the gun and the sword. He is a senior leader in the Boston Muslim community and represents the Muslim American Society's Islamic Cultural Center in the Roxbury neighborhood of Boston.
It's called the Islamic Society of Boston Cultural Center, and when it's complete, it will be the largest mosque in the Northeast. A Fox Undercover investigation has documented that several of its leaders, past and present, do have ties to Islamic terrorism.
The center's founder, Abdul Rahman Alamoudi, is currently serving a 23-year term in federal prison for an al-Qaeda terror plot. One of its former trustees, Yusuf Qaradawi, urges his followers to exterminate Jews and kill homosexuals. One of its current trustees, Walid Fatahi, wrote in Arabic newspapers that Jews are the rapists of the worshippers of Allah and should be scourged. The most recently added trustee, Jamal Badawi, promotes wife-beating and demands that Muslims establish Sharia Islamic law wherever they live. The organization that runs the Islamic Center, the Muslim American Society, has been labeled by federal prosecutors as the overt arm of the Muslim Brotherhood, the global radical Islamic group that gave birth to Hamas and al-Qaeda. Most of the money used to finance the center came from Saudi Arabia, and some had terrorist connections. A significant amount was contributed by the city of Boston, when Mayor Menino agreed to donate the land in Roxbury valued at over $2 million for a fraction of its worth. Critics of the center warned that its leaders would use it to radicalize Boston's historically moderate Muslim community.
If this Islamic Center is finished under its current leadership and with its current ideology, will it become, as so many mosques with similar associations have become elsewhere in the United States, a center for Islamic extremism in our own backyard? Will it become, in fact, a jihad academy?
They please the non-Muslims by saying, Islam is the religion of peace, and quote the verses, but do not mention what in their sacred, secret culture, they in their own communities, their own mosque, teach the hadith of I am commanded to fight all the people.
Despite the controversy regarding its radical leadership, civic leaders gave the mosque their blessing.
To celebrate the opening of the Islamic Cultural Center.
The Islamic Center was officially opened in 2009, and since then, several high-profile terrorism plots have been linked to its members and leaders. On July 15, 2009, Osama Ziadi, a supporter of the mosque and one of its big donors, was indicted for taking cash from al-Qaeda's top fundraiser, Yassin Qadi. In October, 2 young Muslim men from Greater Boston were indicted in plots to murder shoppers in local malls. One is the son of the Islamic Center's vice president, Abdul Badi Abu Samra. And in February, Aafia Siddiqui, a friend of Imam Faaruuq and a member of his mosque, was convicted of trying to murder FBI agents in Afghanistan while shouting, "Death to America." Siddiqui is informally known in the counterterrorism community as the Grey Lady of al-Qaeda. Shortly after Aafia's conviction, Imam Faaruuq delivered this sermon urging the congregation to support her.
I brought some papers tonight that I'm going to ask if I could give out regarding a woman who is presently suffering, this woman Aafia Siddiqui. After they're finished with Aafia, they're going to come to your door if they feel like it. You know, this Patriot Act permits them to come anywhere they want at any time.
The very concerns raised by the center's critics are evident in Faaruq's speech.
And why should you not struggle, fight if you have to, in the way of Allah, when those who are weak amongst you from amongst the and ill-treated and oppressed, it adds here, this is an oppressed, men and women and children whose cry is, "Our Lord, rescue us from this town whose people are oppressors." And if you help the cause of Allah, He will help you. So there's a word, shaja'ah. What does shaja'ah mean? It means bravery. You know, and if anybody in the world is to be brave, it must be us. You must grab onto this rope, Grab onto the typewriter, grab onto the shovel, grab onto the gun and the sword. Don't be afraid to step out into this world and do your job.
Is Imam Faaruuq urging Boston area Muslims to respond violently to the arrests of Islamic extremists? Just 2 months after delivering this sermon, Imam Faaruuq met with Massachusetts Governor Deval at an Islamic Center event. The governor appeared with Faaruuq and the Muslim American Society leadership, despite warnings about the organization's history of Islamic extremism and anti-Semitism. The purpose of Patrick's visit to the Islamic Center was described by the MAS as the governor's recognition of our presence, our pain, and our power. At the event, MAS leaders repeatedly claimed that the Boston Muslim community is a victimized and besieged minority. In what appeared to be a request for concessions, they asked the governor to commit to a list of 7 actions aimed at providing privileged treatment and accommodation for Muslims in public and private workplaces, schools, and financial institutions. Most egregiously, the MAS demanded that law enforcement agencies in the state be given cultural sensitivity training. Imam Faaruuq himself handed out a check for $50,000 to staffers from Attorney General Martha Coakley's office for the training program. Will people like Faaruuq be training our Massachusetts State Police? Astoundingly, and without much deliberation, the governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts agreed to these radical demands and accepted the money. Governor Patrick, recognize our concerns. Stop embracing radicals, give back the money, and reach out to truly moderate Muslims. Don't let political correctness compromise our security.